Welcome to the Everyday Creative Podcast. We are two creatives that will discuss our own creative journeys, mental health, and a little bit of everything in between. Oh yeah, we're married too. Thanks for joining us.
Welcome back to the Everyday Creative Podcast. I'm Cameron.
And I'm Bryce.
And welcome to episode 10. If you can't tell, there's a few hints for what we're talking about today.
What would those hints be?
Well, number one, what we're wearing. I also have pajama pants on. I don't know if anybody can see that. We got our gear on here today.
Oh, yeah.
We are posting this.
Not on Wednesday.
If you missed us, it's because we wanted to save it.
Did anybody miss us?
For
May the 4th be with you.
Exactly. And we have a special guest with us today.
Han Solo from Empire Strikes Back.
He's right there.
Limited edition pop.
So today,
yes,
we are honoring Star Wars on our podcast.
We are.
Because it is May the 4th. Mm-hmm. And if you didn't know, that's like kind of Star Wars Day.
Oh, yeah. It's a very important day in the year.
So we thought we'd hold off and wait and post this on May the 4th and talk a little bit about Star Wars.
Yeah.
For our episode 10. It just lined up perfectly.
It did. What kind of creative were you this week?
I think that was a pretty productive creative.
I think you were.
I did a lot. Mm-hmm. We took some photos and video for a 5K fundraiser.
Yep.
So I had to take some photos and I've been editing them. And yeah.
Yeah.
Event coverage is always, I think it's fun.
It can be.
It's entertaining. It's
a long day. And it gets mundane after a while, but it can be fun.
Yeah. I had fun because it was kind of short. It was really cold that morning, but
and then the very next day it was 80 degrees.
Yeah, but it's fun whenever you capture like cool moments. And then you look back on them while you're editing. But that's pretty much, is that the only really thing I've been?
You've been doing some other things, but you've been pretty creative this week.
Yeah. How about you?
Yeah, I've been creative, I guess. I've been busy pretty much with the same things as the past couple weeks. But yeah, been busy.
You took some photos too.
I did. I took some photos yesterday.
Which
would have been, we're recording this on a Tuesday, so it would have been Monday.
That's really important information.
It's for my mental notes. Yeah, I took some photos. They turned out a lot better than I thought they would.
Why did you think
I don't know. I haven't done a good portrait session in a while. Not like a good like quality, but like I haven't done like an actual session in a while. So that was fun, and I finished editing them today. So
nice.
Yeah, that was a fast turnaround.
That was very fast.
But yeah,
I've been busy.
Yeah, I've been busy.
Well, that's good. Do you want to do a random generated question before we get into it?
Siri? Hey Siri, can you give me a number between 1 and 50? 21. 21?
What is one thing you'll never do again? That's a loaded question.
It is.
There's many things.
What's one thing I'll never do again? I'll never get married again.
I think this is okay.
I know. Right. I know where the question was going. I was trying to be cute.
It's cute. That's cute.
I guess it could be taken.
Yeah, it could just be taken like we're never gonna well, I guess we could possibly have to take a driver's license test again, but
we should.
We should be a requirement.
We should, yes. What is it, 16? Yeah, 16, 45, and then after the age of 65 every year.
Just to make sure.
Yeah, just to be sure.
Keep the road safe out
yes.
there. What would I never do again? I'm trying to think of something that I just like did not enjoy at all.
I know one.
For me?
For me.
Oh, okay.
I don't ever want to go to Florida again.
Ever?
I don't like the state of Florida, period. It's too humid. I don't like the humidity. So.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I cannot. My mind's legitimately blanking on something. I'm trying to think if there's like a food I tried that I would like never eat again. But I literally can't think of anything. If I don't want to, I feel like, I just won't do it in the first place.
Yes. If you don't want to do something, you don't do it.
Yeah.
You're a little stubborn about that.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Let's not sit here and have me trying to think through
the things that you wouldn't do again.
Yeah. So let's just I'll get back to everybody on that if there's anything I can think of. We'll be like mid sentence and I'll be like, oh,
that's not what I won't do again.
Well, Bryce, this
is the fan favorite section. It was voted upon. The polls are out.
We're not reviewing a movie.
Oh, dang it. I jumped the gun.
Yes. My intro was, this is a very important day for you.
It is.
Because you are a very big Star Wars fan.
I am.
So, tell me a little bit about how you got into Star Wars, when you started watching, all the things.
So, I remember the first time I saw Star Wars. It was an afternoon. I was probably 7 or 8 years old. My uncle showed it to me in the forest. We were hiking. Yeah, very random. So my cousin, because you know how old vans had like the flip down screen?
That's what you first watched it on?
No. Oh. Worse. Like a phone. Yes. My first viewing of Star Wars, not great.
But did you like it?
Loved it.
Well, keep telling your story.
So
you were in the middle of the woods.
The first time I watched Star Wars was probably not a great experience because the only thing I remember about watching Star Wars for the first time was not Luke Skywalker or Darth Vader or Obi-Wan Kenobi. It was R2-D2 and C-3PO in the Jawa like ship thing, and C-3PO was like, R2-D2, it is you. I don't know why, that's the only thing that sticks in my mind. And then I watched it again like later, and that's when I really fell in love with it.
And that's when you watched all of them?
Yeah.
So that time that you watched it, it was just A New Hope?
Yes.
And how old were you around this time?
I would sub 10.
Okay.
So before 10 years old. So I watched Star Wars, and then I watched Return of the Jedi, and then I watched Empire Strikes Back, and then I watched The Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith, and then I think after that it was everything in order. So, The Force Awakens, Force Awakens, Rogue One, Last Jedi, Solo, Rise of Skywalker. I think that's the order I watched them in.
Nice.
Yeah, I love Star Wars.
So your first couple experiences were kind of not the greatest.
Yeah.
But what made you like really like Star Wars?
I think I love Star Wars because it's so relatable.
Relatable?
Yes. And I think it's the thing in which Star Wars' biggest flaw and its biggest strength is Luke Skywalker. For some reason, in 9 movies, we can never get away from like the Skywalker saga. But it's because it's so engaging. I see myself in Luke. Like, he's just some random farm boy who wants to leave his planet of sand.
That's a really unfortunate place to live.
Not saying that my father is this evil half cyborg monster and my sister is a princess. Like, No, but
and my love interest.
Exactly.
One movie.
But there's just something relatable about Luke Skywalker and kind of having him as a hero figure, because you get to see his journey from just small farm boy to redeeming his father and taking down the Empire by the end of Return of the Jedi. So it's just this cool saga of 3 movies, excluding the prequels and the sequels, but like those 3 movies it is my favorite trilogy of movies ever.
Yeah.
Start to finish. And I would also like to say I like the original theatrical releases the best, not the 1994 re-releases or the early
where they have like weird animations that they put in that just looks so unnatural.
Really weird CGI. Luckily, I got like my hands on the original theatrical releases. I don't know. I've never watched these because
you can't.
We don't have a VCR, but I do have them on disc.
Yeah,
the original ones. Yeah, there was a Star Wars Christmas special.
Oh.
Yeah, horrible. One of the worst things. So it aired on TV, and right after it aired, George Lucas tried to find every copy and burn.
Oh, wow.
But I have a copy.
You have a copy? It's probably worth a lot of money now.
It was like pirated from the internet. I found it. Burned it to a disc.
Maybe don't put that out there into the world. Well.
What's your history of Star Wars?
So, my family, as in like my uncles and my pappy, like love Star Wars because they watched it when they were little. So when I was probably like 8-ish, 7, 8, 9, something like that, we went through them. We went over to my grandparents' house and we watched all of them. And but we watched them like, we didn't watch it 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3.
I was just about to ask which order, because this is a big topic.
Controversy in the Star Wars world. So we watched them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I remember it's so weird when you go from 3, which would be at that point like the newest, to 4, which is the oldest, and it's like
you're like, wow, how'd it go from looking so bad to looking so amazing?
Yeah, like,
but as a kid, you're like, wow, like episode 3 is like amazing,
right?
And then you go to like this boring.
It looks different, and then all of a sudden it's like, because like I remember, I feel like it's one of the scenes in A New Hope where like they're in a like whatever space ship thing. I feel like I'm gonna offend so many Star Wars. I really like Star Wars, but I'm not like educated and versed in the universe. But anyways, where it looks like you can tell they're in front of a green screen type of thing. I remember not loving, when I was really little, the original because it was just weird.
They're probably kind of boring too.
I personally, if I was to show somebody the movies, wouldn't start that way.
Where'd you start?
I'd start with 4. With A New Hope.
You mean, okay, you wouldn't start them at 1. You'd start them at 4.
Yeah. And then, because I feel like also understanding what happens in the original trilogy just adds more meaning to the 3 that were made after.
Well, I mean,
what are they called?
The prequels?
The prequels.
Because you got the original. That's the story. And then the prequels only add to it.
Yeah, everything else that was created is based around those 3 movies.
Because if you watch the first 3 first, you know that Anakin turns into Darth Vader. And then you can kind of assume that, well, you see at the end of the 3rd one, Luke Skywalker is born, and it's from Padme. So you're like, oh, that's his dad.
Yeah.
But if you watch 4, 5, 6,
you see that him figure that out while you're figuring it out type of thing.
Did you know that Darth Vader is Luke Skywalker's dad?
Well,
before watching them.
I don't remember.
Okay. But was that like a massive like, whoa?
I don't remember.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I don't remember.
My mind was blown whenever I found that out.
I don't really remember. I just remember watching the movies. So then I did not keep up with Star Wars. don't hate me, Star Wars fans. Like all the new stuff that came out.
Yeah.
And then we watched crap, what show did we watch?
Obi-Wan?
No. The one we really liked.
Oh, Andor.
So Andor came out,
yeah.
and you wanted to watch it, and I was like, sure, I'll sit with you and watch it. And that got me back into Star Wars.
Yes.
Which I think we need to talk about Andor a little bit. But,
we will talk about Andor.
But then we were like, oh, I need to rewatch the movies. So we watched the trilogy.
We did.
And my favorite is not your favorite.
I know.
Mine's Return of the Jedi.
And why is that?
I like the
Ewoks?
No. That's not why I like it. I like that the good guys win in the end. And there's a really cool fight scene.
There is.
Battle.
That's a great... Which battle are you talking about?
The end one. With the Ewoks.
Oh, okay. Not the throne room battle with Vader and Luke?
That one's good too. But
my favorite's Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
Because the bad guys win.
Well, what's that tell you about you?
I like when there's a little bit that like there's...
But they don't win.
They don't win in the end.
It's only 1 out of 3. Or 2 out of 3.
Yes.
There's still another one.
But it's just, I love whenever we see our heroes lose. And you know there's going to be a next movie where they kind of have to regroup and come back. But I like seeing them in despair and knowing that they're not invincible. I like seeing that a hero isn't invincible. Because if you know that they're always going to win,
that makes me feel good, Tom, when they always win. But real quick.
Yeah.
When the third Dune comes out.
Yes.
We're going to have to revisit this question and see if Star Wars will always be your favorite trilogy or if there's going to be another one that pops in.
I think I have an answer for that already.
You can't. You
not
cannot have an answer.
Not for the trilogy.
Well, then you can't have an answer yet.
I have a prediction.
Okay. We'll come back to it. What are your thoughts? And maybe you can also share what the average Star Wars fan, how they feel about some of the new movies that have come out.
Okay.
Because these 3 movies came out when?
77, 80, 83.
And then the prequels came out
99.
So early 2000s-ish area. And then there was a pretty large break, right? Well, I guess not that big of a break because it was the early 2000s. But then there was what?
Well, yeah, so it was like 99, 02, 05, something like that.
Okay.
Don't quote me. Don't come at me. But it was early 2000s. And then those were all made by Lucasfilm, the original 3 and then the prequels. Disney buys Lucasfilm for an astronomical amount of money. And then they start going to work. And in 2015, December 15th.
So about 10 years later.
About 10 years later, The Force Awakens comes out. And then 2 years later, The Last Jedi. And then 2 years after that, Rise of Skywalker. So The Force Awakens comes out in 2015. Nobody had seen Star Wars content in a long time. Like visual content. There's been a lot of books and comics, all that stuff.
10 years, in fact.
10 years. But even before that, like decades of content, but not visual content. So we get news that there's going to be a new Star Wars movie, The Force Awakens. The teaser trailer comes out. And I just remember where I was when the teaser trailer dropped.
Where were you?
Church.
Did you watch it in the middle of a service?
Oh, 100%. I got the notification on my iPod Touch. Ran out of the church.
You didn't have a phone at 15?
No.
Anyways.
I ran to the bathroom, cranked that volume, and watched it like 7 times. Incredible teaser trailer. Because they shot it on the lenses that they shot the original trilogy on. So it was dirty. It felt visceral and real. And like you saw John Boyega as a stormtrooper. you saw, I think Rey was in the trailer. You saw BB-8. So it was like, oh, wow, we're getting all this new cast of characters. That's kind of cool. Like, usher in the new Star Wars. And it didn't give much away, but it had Kylo Ren and his cool lightsaber with, like, with the 3 blades.
The, like, cross thing.
Yeah. It was just Star Wars. It, like, brought it all back. And then there's a second trailer where at the very end of the trailer, Han Solo comes out with Chewie, and he's like...
Oh, so you knew he was in that?
Yes. That was in the main trailer at the very end.
I didn't know that he was in it when I watched it, right?
No, because I don't think you saw any of the trailers.
No, and you didn't tell me.
I didn't tell you. It's directed by J.J. Abrams. And here's the problem with the sequel trilogy in my mind. They had no plan. There was no plan. So J.J. Abrams directed the first one. Rian Johnson directed the second one. And the third one went through like 3 different directors that were supposed to direct it. But there was no one sat down at the beginning of this trilogy because they knew they were going to make 3. No one sat down and they were like, here's where we start and here's where we end. There was none of that. It was each director could kind of make their own movie, but they kind of had to connect and build off of the previous one. So JJ did the first one. And we watched it together. It's actually a lot better. So I remember seeing it the day it came out, and it blew my mind because hadn't seen Star Wars in a long time, and it just reinvigorated my love for Star Wars.
Yeah, I didn't think it was bad.
No, me and my brother went home and had a lightsaber battle outside, then ate Pizza Hut. Like, it was every 15-year-old's dream. It was awesome. I'd love that now.
Yeah.
But so that movie's great. We've rewatched it. I think I have more hate in it. I had more hate in it in my mind before we watched it again because of the second 2 movies. But it's actually really good. It's a remake of like these.
Right. But it was a good way to bring the new
audience in.
Yeah.
So I really liked it. Then The Last Jedi comes out. Very divisive film.
Really?
Very. Splits the Star Wars community in half.
Okay.
Half of the people want to burn Rian Johnson at the stake. The other half are praising him for doing something very, very different.
And what do you feel?
Well,
because I have not watched that one.
No, and
our intent was to watch one a week, and
somehow that fell apart.
We were in the months leading to our wedding and busy,
So whenever I first saw it, I saw it 3 times in the theater. All 3 times I walked out very disappointed.
Oh, okay.
I did not like it.
It didn't have the Star Wars feel.
No, it didn't. Whenever you watch it, you'll see. Because it completely flips Luke Skywalker from what we know from the originals. He is old. He is, well, obviously he's old because it's a lot of time has passed, but he's kind of like, he's lost faith and hope. So, at the end of The Force Awakens, Rey finds him and gives him the lightsaber. The Last Jedi picks up right at that moment. He takes the lightsaber and throws it. Like, just gets rid of it. And that's when
like lazy writing.
In the theater, I went, oh no.
Like out loud?
Yeah, I was like, uh-oh. That's not good. That's not what, no. And then he milks like this sea creature. Oh, it gets weird.
Golly.
Yeah. It's strange, but okay. I've thought about it for a long time and I need to rewatch it. I think I have more appreciation for what he was trying to go for. He was trying to broaden, because like I said, the problem with Star Wars is it focuses so much around the Skywalkers that it's hard to branch out from that. And Rian Johnson was really trying to show that we can branch off from the Skywalkers. There's the whole galaxy to tell stories from. So I give him credit for that. There were some cool things in the movie. So I think we should just rewatch it. The Rise of Skywalker is a hot, burning piece of crap.
That's the last.
That's the last one. Colin Trevorrow was supposed to direct it. Didn't happen. JJ came back from the first one. And there, like I said, there was no story connecting all of them. So he had to he retconned a lot of what Rian Johnson did. So he acted like, nope, that's not even the movie. We're going directly from the first.
They needed to keep the same director because when he made that first movie, he probably had an intent for where it was supposed to go. Like when you tell a story, even if you're not the one who's going to write that next movie, you have an intent of where it's going to go. And then he's coming back and then he's like, well, that's not where I wanted my story to go. Yeah. So let's write it.
He flipped everything around again. And like I would have had as if I was like a producer or somebody putting all this all together, I've been like, okay, if we have 3 different directors, cool, we can have like 3 different vibes of Star Wars. But we need to sit them down in a room before we start and make sure we have a cohesive story. Like if one's going to be more of an action adventure, then another one's going to be like a espionage heist film, and then the last one's going to be this epic movie. Okay, cool. 3 different subgenres, but they'll all have a cohesive story. That never happened.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question.
Go for it. Sorry, I'm very passionate about how the sequels really suck.
No, you're good. So Disney, this happens after Disney buys Star Wars. Now, this is a whole other podcast in and of itself, but we also know that Disney bought Marvel.
The Disneyfication.
And when that happened, Marvel also started going downhill, and the stories just were kind of like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Do you feel like do you feel like Disney has a problem whenever it takes on number one, it's taking on like Star Wars and Marvel, like are in and of themselves like so iconic to people, like they mean a lot to people, and then Disney buys them. But then do you feel like Disney, I mean, we were even seeing this with their like movies too. Yeah. Do you feel like they try to put out things so quickly that they don't take the time and intention to actually make it good? It's like, let's put out these next 3 Star Wars movies, but let's not actually create a plan and actually do it the right way and hire the same person and write a story. Yeah. Let's just get them out because then the fans will watch them.
So I do have an answer for that.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's pretty evident what kind of happened. So Star Wars comes out, Disney buys Lucasfilm, and George Lucas names Kathleen Kennedy like the president of Lucasfilm, of that division. So Disney's broken down into different divisions, like the Marvel division. Kevin Feige's the head of that. Kathleen Kennedy is the head of Lucasfilm, which also encompasses Star Wars, Indiana Jones, all of that. She is a great producer, one of the greatest producers to ever live. Steven Spielberg's even said that. But she's not great at Star Wars. So she made a lot of content. Disney bought Marvel, I'm not sure when, but they were great up until Endgame. So like the whole Infinity Saga was great. Bob Iger, the president of Disney, resigns, retires. Bob Chapek comes in. He puts in a lot of middle management, gets rid of the power from like Kevin Feige, Kathleen Kennedy, and that's when Disney Plus starts rolling out. So he's like, we need to just make as much content as we can. So that's why you have like the She-Hulks, it feels like a lot of the stuff's half baked. Like Ahsoka, Obi-Wan Kenobi. All of these shows that should have been really, really good, they're just like, ugh.
They're almost there.
It's almost there.
It's like it's almost, and there's like episodes that are really good, and then there's episodes that are like, what?
Exactly. Like even bottom of the barrel She-Hulk.
Yeah.
There's a show there that's good. Like I can't really see it, but like in concept, there's a good show there. It's just they had to make it so fast, so much content that they just couldn't. And I don't blame the people that were in it or the writers, because they were just put under heavy fire to make it as fast as you can,
right,
for as cheap as you can.
But that's not how you make quality content.
Exactly. And like with this, we should just have like a Marvel episode. But like Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. There's a good movie in there somewhere, but there's a lot of like shoehorning other things in to build to the future.
Yeah, instead of just focusing on that movie, it's like, how can we open up to bring in the new characters and these new people? But it's like honestly, I feel like that movie didn't even need to happen. But that's a whole Marvel.
I'm more passionate about Marvel, I think, than Star Wars.
So maybe we should do a Marvel episode at some point.
But yes, so moving on from the sequels, kind of, just talking about the fan base. It's a very toxic community, kind of. Just for instance, after The Last Jedi came out, there's an Asian girl in the Last Jedi. Kelly Marie Tran, I think her name is. People hated her. Star Wars fans. They were like, no, get her out. We like females don't deserve to be in Star Wars, and especially ones of like minorities. So they like hated on her on social media. She had to like leave social media and take a break from like any sort of spotlight. And then she comes back in the last movie, but she's like small role. So it's just, the community is pretty toxic at times.
A question about that. Has that always been the case, like from the original? Obviously, the original are made in a different time period as well. But, or do you feel like that culture among fans was created by the second sequel? What was it called? What's it called?
The sequels?
Yeah, but the second one.
The prequels.
No.
Oh, The Last Jedi.
Is that the second one?
The second, yeah.
Whenever that became so divisive, do you feel like that encouraged the culture of, we can just like attack whatever we don't agree with, and then, you know what I'm saying?
I do know.
Or was it happening before that too? I know it's hard for you to say, but
it's probably happened before.
Yeah.
But like, hey, Mace Windu is Samuel L. Jackson, a black actor, well esteemed. No hate there, but also like, so cool, Samuel L. Jackson's in the Star Wars universe. But that was in the early 2000s. Now we're moving towards 2015, 2017, and 2019. The first one didn't get too much hate. Like, there was some backlash. Like, do we really need this? This is just a rehash of A New Hope, Return of the Jedi. Like, it's the same story. But that was about the worst of it, kind of. Then we move into the Last Jedi with Kelly Marie Tran and John Boyega taking a larger role, who's black. And you have to remember, in history, like, it's 2017. A lot's happening in the world.
Right. And culturally, societally, we've also, as time has gone on, become even more divisive.
Yeah.
We've had almost like taken steps back in viewpoints when it comes to race and sexuality and gender, because, and we've become like, now we have issues with things where it's like, there's like, if we think about the galaxy as a real place, there's likely women
and there's likely black people.
I mean, there's people in this that aren't people.
They're not human.
They're like aliens. So like, why aren't there people of different races? And so it's like, you have these fans just almost just picking battles and attacking. And I just wonder if that has always been the case, or if it's really just been because societally and culturally that has been something happening in America, that then it just coincides with, I mean, with Marvel too, with any fan base, really, people are having issues more recently.
I think it's exactly what you said. Like, and like the rise of Twitter was like, Twitter was hot in those years. People were spewing a lot of not nice messages. But
how much of like that started from people that are just trying to get like views and likes and stuff, and then like, people were like, I want to join this.
I mean, there's hate always will get more views and more clicks than positive things. There's whole YouTube channels devoted to just hating on everything.
But you feel like it doesn't take away from the story to have women in lead characters?
No, the main character in the sequel trilogy is a girl. Yeah. Race. I love Rey.
I thought she was great.
I love her. I have a few problems how they wrote her character. I feel like she's a little like, remember how I was saying how I don't like how a character can be invincible and like good at, like I don't like whenever they're invincible and good at everything. She's a little too invincible and good at everything.
She's a little too by the book.
Yeah.
She doesn't have a...
I would like to see the flaws. Like, where are her flaws?
I see.
And I was gonna say something, but it kind of spoils the Rise of Skywalker, and I really want you to see that with fresh eyes.
You did spoil something for me.
What did I spoil?
Well, we'll talk about it later.
Okay. But
I think what you don't want me to know is something you've already told me.
Oh, probably in one of my rants. But yeah, the discourse around these movies and all of that doesn't really affect how I feel about them. I don't really like the sequels, but it's more Star Wars content. So
yeah.
And then there's the shows.
The shows.
The Mandalorian season 1 and season 2 are perfect.
Okay.
They are perfect, and it's weird. The whole community kind of comes around the Mandalorian season 1, season 2, and they're like, "We're good with this."
Yeah.
Everybody loves it.
If it's more like this, we'll like it.
But then season 3 gets very divisive again because the one episode has Jack Black and Lizzo, and it's like, why is Jack Black and Lizzo in this? We don't need that. I did not like that. I thought I wouldn't either. Unneeded.
You're taking us out of the universe.
Yeah. Because it wasn't like they were playing an alien or something. It was very clearly like they did not. It was
a cameo.
There was like no makeup on them both. It was Jack Black and Lizzo.
No, like that stuff can happen in Marvel because like technically it's like
in the real world.
Like technically we're living in the Marvel world type of thing when it's.
But a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
There's not going to be no Lizzo. Like, come on now. Whoever decided to put that in there, you spent money on Lizzo and Jack Black when you could have spent it on a better writer or like CGI person. Like, you could have done an editor.
Yeah.
You could have spent that money many other places, but you decided to spend probably a lot of money, just to get a little cameo.
Yes.
Oh my golly.
Oh yeah. So there was like the Book of Boba Fett, pretty not good. It was pretty mid. Ahsoka, pretty mid. What else? Obi-Wan, pretty mid.
Ahsoka had its moments.
It did.
But we had a problem because I did watch Ahsoka.
Yeah, you did.
We had a problem with some of the holes in the storyline.
Yeah.
There were just things that like weren't like, why is this happening right now? There's no context for me.
Yeah. So Ahsoka, it was fine. The one though that I love,
the one that gave me nightmares
deeply. Andor is next level storytelling, not just on a Star Wars level, but on a metaphysical TV level. It is one of the best shows to come out in the past 5 years, and I fully believe that. Like, I put that up there with The Bear, and
it felt Star Wars. It felt genuine to Star Wars, yet different.
It felt like Star Wars for adults, and that's what I want. It was real, and they tackled some really hard issues. And it was not horror, but there were some scary elements to it because of the impending doom and gloom. So Andor's great if you haven't seen it. You gotta watch it.
Puts like into context again. Like, I think when you watch the original trilogy, it's like you understand the concepts of the Empire and like what it stands for.
Yeah.
And obviously there's like allusions to Nazi Germany in it. But it's not scary because they don't portray it that way. But then Andor's like, if this is what the Empire is, then this is the reality for the everyday person, which you don't get to see in the original. And then you're like, oh, because like sometimes, you know, when you watch the original 3, like you don't feel this like moral obligation to be against the Empire. Do you know what I'm saying? Because it's like this cool, like,
you just
powerful...
know that like at the head of the Empire is this evil wizard and like his robot man.
Right. But like when you then watch Andor, you're like, oh, yeah.
They're like torturing folks.
Yeah.
They are taking over countries and worlds, and
people are living in fear.
Mm-hmm. I did read an article that they like, I think it was George Lucas, and then eventually like the writers of Andor also put this in, that race and gender doesn't necessarily mean that much in Star Wars except for the Empire. They wanted them to be British or of English descent and white, because to give like,
because it's more believable to understand, like it brings it back to reality a little bit, because it's making a comparison to Nazi Germany. Like, you're not gonna, it would be harder, I think, to make that connection if it wasn't that type of casting.
Yeah, and I think something with like the British accents too, like
they're intimidating.
It gives it like this hierarchy almost. British people, like if I hear somebody that's British speak, I already put them like a higher.
Depends on the British accent.
Yes.
But if it's a very formal British accent, you think, oh, they're probably higher class. Yeah.
So I like how they kind of put those subtleties in there. And with Andor, you also see how the rebellion was formed, which is really cool. Yeah, I love Mon Mothma. She's one of my favorite characters. Yeah, so that's like all the content of Star Wars.
So there's a lot of good stuff that's coming out that has branched out from the original trilogy. There's some things that maybe weren't as great, and maybe that the also some things that the Star Wars community, although it's a great fan base, could probably be a little more open-minded on some things. But yeah, it's a very nostalgic movie.
Yeah.
Do you have any other last thoughts before we figure out which Star Wars character we are?
Oh boy. Let me think. I really like Star Wars.
If you didn't realize.
That's like, I know that's a very simple sentence, but it's just like, I really like Star Wars.
Yeah.
Even if it's not good. I recognize that not everything that the IP puts out is good.
Right.
It's not. Andor is great, but
the foundation and the basis of like the world of Star Wars is a really cool concept.
Yeah, like intergalactic travel, laser swords, the Force, like all of that stuff is so just intriguing and captivating.
And I feel like they do it without like making the universe too big. It's like, we're not gonna keep adding new things that you can do type of thing. It's like they've kept it pretty consistent with the originals on like what people are able to do. It's not like, I know it's not comparable, but like Marvel has just continued to build and build and build and build, and it's gotten so big that it's like, what are we even talking about at this point? Whereas like there's still even though you're talking about space and galaxies and you know, all of that, there's still something grounded about Star Wars no matter what they put out.
My only pushback to that is I worry that they will do that.
And you don't want them to.
No, not really.
I wouldn't either.
Honestly, if they kept it
don't Disney, if you're listening, don't do it.
They'll come for us.
Disney's
not doing so well.
Disney.
I love you so much.
I'm just reminding them.
Yes. But like, I fear that they will do the same thing that Marvel, because they've already done it a little bit. Like with Ahsoka, we went to a different galaxy.
Oh yeah, I didn't like that part. Also, like, there was no there are so many holes.
And like you haven't seen it, but like in some of the shows, the whales, in some of the shows, in The Rise of Skywalker, you can like force heal somebody, like bring them back to life, kind of, which kind of it's just like, okay, so Qui-Gon Jinn died for nothing in the first movie, just by getting stabbed. Sabine Wren gets stabbed right through the stomach, and
that's right,
just a little scar. So there's a couple things.
There's a couple things that maybe they need to just like, if somebody's gonna die, just don't if you don't want them to die, then don't make their character die.
Yes.
Like, it's almost kind of just lazy writing. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like,
just pay your writer. Get a good writer.
Get a good writer. Get a consistent director. Mm-hmm. And stop paying for Lizzo.
Well, it's just interesting because, and this is one, I'll make this like my final point.
Yeah. We could be here all day.
Whenever they're making this content, mm-hmm. like Andor was written and mostly directed by somebody that's not a Star Wars fan. Mm. They wanted to come in and make something. They didn't even really want to make it. Mm-hmm. Tony Gilroy. But he made it, and it's one of the best things ever. He just said what his idea was in the Star Wars universe. Mm-hmm. He wasn't just playing with toys.
Yeah.
He was trying to tell a story.
It was intentional.
It was intentional. So I think more intentional storytelling is what we need to have.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And don't just, get good writers. And they need to figure out where they want to go with it. Because we've already seen... Like, we don't need a thing where, like, at Marvel, they're like, we need to just scrap everything and restart. Yeah. You don't want to see that with Star Wars happen, too. But if you keep going in this direction, there's a possibility that happens. And as somebody, like, who is a Marvel fan and doesn't even really want to go to the theaters to watch Marvel anymore, like, and that's somebody,
which is sad.
I am a Marvel fan.
Yeah.
Like, probably more than I am a Star Wars fan because I've been more exposed to Marvel. But, like, are there... Like, you don't want to lose Star Wars fans, too, because you just aren't willing to do quality content because you're just a money-making machine. Disney. Okay. Any other thoughts?
No, just that Disney's got to watch the back now.
Camaryn Mentzer's coming for you.
Bob Iger, watch your back.
Or hire us to be your writers. I mean.
No.
No?
No.
Okay, don't hire us to
No, I don't want to.
Hire Bryce to be your director.
I have a bunch. No. I don't want... I wouldn't touch Star Wars at the 10-foot pole.
Well, for Marvel.
Oh, for Marvel?
Yeah.
I'd do Marvel.
So, I texted you a link. You're going to need to pull it out. We're going to take a little BuzzFeed quiz to figure out which Star Wars character we are. Ooh. So...
we love BuzzFeed quizzes.
I grew up on BuzzFeed quizzes.
I did
Told
too.
me a lot about my personality. But I figure maybe we'll just, like, you can, fast forward through this or whatever.
Oh, no, I think we should talk about some of these questions. Okay, well,
because I need your help on the first question already.
So the first question is, pick a social network. Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest,
So what are
Google+.
we picking it based on?
Your favorite, I guess.
Well, I'm going to put Pinterest because I think that's the best for me creatively.
I would put Twitter, but it's now X, so I don't like that.
But this is obviously a very old because it has the old Instagram logo, so you can put Twitter if you want because that was your favorite.
Yeah, we'll do Twitter. What was your favorite subject? Maths, physics, politics, English, IT, biology, foreign languages, religious studies, or philosophy?
They don't have history.
Politics.
But do you think politics because I like American history?
I'll do English. Pick a color.
Blue.
I'm going black. Pick a Beatles song.
They didn't have Hey Jude. So I'm
going to do Let It Be, I think.
Oh, I like that one. But I'm going to do Here Comes the Sun because we have that album cover on our...
What is your ideal first date? Going for a drive, a nice walk through the woods, watching a foreign language film. You've never had a first date. Shooting womp rats in your T-16. Ooh, that'd be a fun one. Going for a picnic in a field by a waterfall. Putting out. Watching stand-up comedy or going to a museum.
I think going for a drive.
That's what I think. That or a nice walk through the woods.
Yeah, but that can kind of get creepy real quick for your first date.
Oh, true.
All right, I've also never seen Breaking Bad, so you need to tell me which character.
Pick a Breaking Bad character.
Which one's most like me?
I'm picking Jesse.
Okay. Who am I picking? Which one's most like me?
I feel like you'd have the most sympathy for Walt Jr. Because in the end, he's kind of a hero, and he always stands for the good.
That's convincing.
Or Skinny Pete.
Just his name, I can't.
What? Skinny Pete? I mean, he's like a drug dealer and stuff, but he ends up being a pretty good dude.
All right, so I'll do Walt Jr.
Okay.
Because you said he stands for good.
As much as anyone can.
Ah.
Who'd you get? R2-D2.
Really?
Who'd you get?
Princess Leia.
Nice.
All right, let's read the descriptions. These aren't very long descriptions.
What's your description say?
This is gross.
Go for it.
Not only did you bring down an evil empire, but you're also so hot that even your own brother wanted a piece.
That's lovely.
I thought it was going to tell me a little bit more about my personality, but...
Mine says, beep, boop, bleep, beep, boop.
That's it?
Yeah.
I thought, remember when BuzzFeed used to give you a whole, 2 paragraphs about how your personality is like the character that you got?
Yeah.
Wow, that one was kind of
We should do a whole BuzzFeed episode where we just take quizzes.
Big quizzes.
All right, so the next one?
Oh, we're doing the next one.
Yeah, why not?
Why not? So the next one
If it gets boring, I'll cut it.
Are you a Jedi?
A Sith?
Or just a normal person?
An old homeless man approaches your home, looking for a place to stay for the night. What do you do? Mock him and send him away. Invite him to stay. Just ignore him. I feel like these are really coming at my moral code.
I feel like, can't there be another option? Can't I, pay for a hotel room for him?
You get 3 options. I know what my option is.
What's your option?
Unfortunately, I'm going to just ignore him.
Yeah, me too. That makes us look, really bad.
The person I want to be would say to invite him to stay.
But realistically, I'm not inviting a stranger into my home because I would be scared.
I would barely want one of my friends to stay overnight.
So I wouldn't want one of your friends to stay overnight either. So in reality, what I would love to do is pay for a hotel room or, connect him to a place to get help. So.
Yes.
But, they only give you 3 options, so...
Would you ever own a droid? Yes, I would love one. No, that'd be weird. Maybe for target practice.
Yeah. That's R2-D2 and stuff. Right?
Yeah, I'd love to have one.
They're like a little puppy dog. Some of them.
Like one of those, very loyal. Those robots that sweep for you.
Well, that just feels wrong. You're just going to get one of them. You're just going to get a droid for it to clean for you.
Yeah, it could clean.
Not to be a companion. And to save your life.
Not all droids are like that.
Some droids I want workhorses. I want a companion droid. Okay.
What's that say about us? If you did own a droid,
here we go.
What would you use it for? It'd help me conquer the universe. It'd work on my farm. I'm not really into droids, or it'd help me save the universe.
It'd help me save the universe.
It'd work on my farm.
Apparently, you can't answer anything differently now based on.
I know. Where in the galaxy would you be born? On an urban city planet, on a desert planet, or on a farm on a regular planet?
I guess on a farm on a regular planet. Because I don't want to be born in the desert. And I'm not a city girl.
I like the city, so I'll do an urban city planet. Coruscant. What do you hope to be? Sith, Jedi, or I don't care?
Jedi. Kind of. Except that's also kind of scary. But the Force would be nice.
I don't know. I've actually...
You want to be a Sith. I know you do.
I've thought about this a lot. What if I
For some reason, when it comes to Star Wars, you love the evil people.
Oh, I do. Because the Jedi are just kind of... They are religious zealots. And they're kind of on their high horse. And that's how they let the Sith overtake them.
I just want to be like Han Solo. I just want to
He's not a Jedi, though.
I know, but he's
he's a good guy.
He's a hero.
Yeah.
But he's not a Jedi.
I'm going to say Sith.
But that's not an option.
No.
And I do care, so.
If it was Rebellion versus Empire, Rebellion all the way.
Yeah.
Okay. Who do you admire? Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker, maybe one of those Cantina band members, or Tatooine's best pod racer?
Would it be weird for me to answer Darth Vader?
No.
I feel like he's a very complex human being.
He is.
And at the end, there is a little redemption for him.
Indeed.
So I don't like him when he's bad, but I feel like he's not just inherently evil.
Mm-hmm.
We all have good and evil.
Mm-hmm.
He's a commentary on when we like allow evil to be the driving force in our.
He really became evil because he feared losing his wife in childbirth, and that's his fear turned him to the dark side.
His love for her.
Yep. And then he ended up killing her anyway, kind of by accident. So,
you're putting Luke.
I'm putting Luke.
Well, now I feel like I can't put Darth.
Even though he's kind of
I'll put Luke too.
A whiny baby.
I'll put Luke.
Are you looking for romance? Love is a distraction. Sure, I'd like that. I don't care. I'm gonna put sure.
Seems like you're not very motivated for love. Sure. I'd like that. Like, to me, should be like, yes.
Well, to me, sure is a lot different than your sure.
I don't like when you say sure.
I know. Sure to me is like, sure. And
no one said. Comment down below. There are like a couple things I feel like fine, the word fine, like that's fine, or sure, should not ever be used in a conversation because it sounds like you're like, that's fine, but really it's not fine. You're like, sure, which really means you're not enthusiastic about it. Mm-hmm. That's how I feel about that.
What color lightsaber would you wield? Green, blue, red, black. I would prefer a blaster. I'm not interested in fighting.
Who's green?
The Jedi.
Who's blue?
The Jedi.
But red's the bad people.
Yeah.
I've never seen a black one.
The dark saber.
I would prefer. No, I want a lightsaber. Never mind. I'm saying green.
Okay, I'll do black because that's cool. How would you fix the galaxy's problems? Save everyone I can. Bend people to my will. Not my problem.
Sounded like you said saber everyone I can. I was like, how's that fixing any issues? Save everyone I can.
Yeah.
Save everyone I can.
Yeah, I feel like that's the best answer out of all those.
I feel like there needs to be a few more options, you know? But I guess that would be too hard to figure out.
Yeah. And finally, do you even like the Star Wars movies? Yes, love them. I wish they didn't exist. I saw them both don't feel strongly.
No, I saw them both don't feel strongly. What does it mean by both? Is it saying that they don't have a lot of Star Wars knowledge?
I guess.
Because they think that there's only two?
Yeah. Never saw them. I'm going to put yes, I love them.
I'm going to put that too because... What are you?
A Jedi.
Yeah, so am I.
The light side of the Force. You fight on behalf of all that is good in this universe. You're deeply empathetic and form close relationships with not just family, but friends and peers as well. Most Jedi use either a blue or green lightsaber depending on their preference.
I know that like we probably just have like we're a little bit of like a wow, this makes us feel good, so we just got a little ego boost. But I feel like it's pretty on par with who we are.
Yeah.
We want what's good for our society, and we're empathetic, and we have close relationships.
I agree.
So
cool.
So now,
yes,
for this part of the podcast, we are going to have a lightsaber fight for all of you. No, I'm just kidding.
That'd be awesome.
I'm just kidding. Thanks for watching.
Yes.
This week's episode. Thanks for being patient and waiting for it, which we probably won't tell you that it wasn't happening on Wednesday. You'll just have to wait and see it on Saturday. And comment down below what your favorite Star Wars movie is, and if you like the new Star Wars that are coming out, or if you don't, but be nice. And
do you like Star Wars or Star Trek better, or Dune? There's so many sci-fi movies out there, and also Star Wars isn't sci-fi, it's space fantasy, so that's whatever.
Glad we cleared that up at the end of the podcast.
Yes, Dune is
when there's only sci-fi. 2 people still listening. So make sure we'll
watch those engagement levels.
Yeah, you do all the things like
subscribe,
comment, review, follow.
You gotta start dancing. Follow,
and have a great rest of
your life.
May the 4th.
a great time.
All right.
Awesome.
I normally do my finger guns, but
pew pew. Wait,
lightsaber.
I know. Pew.
Yeah, do your lightsaber.
Wait.
Can I see all the fighting positions?